They told you that Erika Kirk was continuing Charlie Kirk's legacy, and the truth is she's not. Right when Charlie started questioning a specific nation, they took him out. Almost like they just wiped it away, because he was getting too close to the truth. Erika Kirk, the grieving widow who never once smudged her dark eyeshadow, now says the show will go on, and she forgives him. She forgives the man who we know isn't even probably the guy. And guess what? Her father worked for Raytheon's Israeli division. This isn't Charlie's legacy. And here's what we're not supposed to talk about. There is no coroner's report, no church funeral, no burial site, no official autopsy.
They said Erika Kirk was stepping into her late husband's shoes, continuing the mission he built from scratch. But now, that image of calm leadership is starting to crack. Because in the last few weeks, Candace Owens, once one of Charlie Kirk's closest allies, has spoken out. And her message isn't subtle. She's implying there's more to this story than anyone was ever supposed to know. That behind the public statements, the tributes, and the sudden leadership shift inside Turning Point USA, something doesn't add up. Candace's comments have reignited an online firestorm, part sympathy, part suspicion, and a whole lot of unanswered questions. And in this video, we're unpacking every claim, every theory, and every verified detail to separate what's been proven from what's only being whispered online. Because the truth might not be what you think it is. When the initial news broke about Charlie Kirk's death, it sent shockwaves through political media, but almost immediately, the story seemed to stall. There were no clear police statements released to the public, no confirmed timeline from authorities, and according to several outlets, no widely available autopsy or public record of the investigation. That silence raised eyebrows across social media. Commenters started asking, where are the details? Where's the official report? Why is nobody talking? And that's where the speculation began. Online threads and podcast hosts began comparing this case to other high-profile incidents that went quiet too fast. Some alleged the scene was sealed unusually quickly, though no verified evidence has confirmed that. Still, the lack of updates left a vacuum, and in that vacuum, rumors took over. Candace Owens' decision to speak publicly against that silence was the spark that reignited the conversation. She didn't present new evidence, but she did raise one question that's now at the center of it all. Why is this case the only one nobody seems allowed to talk about? And that's where our investigation begins.
As if the Charlie Kirk saga couldn't get any more bizarre, the trial of Tyler Robinson is starting off on a very interesting path. Judge Tony Graff, who's just been on the bench for 56 days, you would think that they would get someone with a little bit more experience, has imposed one of the strictest gag orders I've ever heard of, prohibiting anyone connected to the case from speaking to the media, citing concerns about pre-trial publicity and fairness. Now, the media, gag order. Lawyers, gag order. Law enforcement, gag order. The 3,000 people that were there, gag order. Candace Owens, gag order. She wasn't even there. And speaking of Candace Owens, she says she's got some information that she uncovered in the last week, which shows that Kirk was betrayed by everybody. Turning Point USA, gag order. I don't know what, everybody, gag order. The judge said regardless of who is watching, whether it's the nation or a single individual, we must fulfill our roles with integrity, civility, and diligence. Well, integrity and diligence, integrity of the crime scene would have been a good start. Maybe roping it off and not just cementing over it right after the guy, autopsy maybe, ballistics or something. Gag order.
For months, Candace Owens kept quiet about Charlie Kirk's death. She stayed respectful, even when people asked her directly during interviews. But then, on her recent podcast episode, the one that's now gone viral, Candace decided she'd had enough. Without naming names at first, she started dropping hints about what she called inconsistencies and selective silence. And halfway through the episode, she said it outright: when truth is sealed behind a court order, it's no longer about privacy, it's about control. That one line exploded online. Clips flooded TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Within hours, thousands of comments started piling up, some praising Candace for speaking out, others accusing her of fueling a conspiracy. And while many viewers assumed she was exaggerating, others pointed to something strange. They noticed that when mainstream outlets covered Charlie's death, almost every article repeated the same few sentences word for word. No investigative follow-up, no on-the-ground reporting, just a recycled summary. That pattern made Candace's statement feel less like speculation and more like a dare as if she was challenging the silence directly. But if Candace was hinting at hidden information, the next part of her revelation made it even more explosive. In that same podcast, Candace said she'd spoken to people close to the case. Now, to be clear, no one has verified who these sources are or what they told her, but according to Candace, the story behind the scenes wasn't what the public was told. She claimed that a restrictive gag order was placed not only on the suspect, lawyers, and witnesses, but even on individuals who weren't directly involved. And that's where eyebrows really shot up, because if true, that's extremely rare. Typically, gag orders cover those inside a trial, not outside commentators. Candace didn't stop there. She said the order felt manufactured, suggesting someone in power wanted to keep the case under wraps. In the hours that followed her podcast drop, Turning Point affiliates reportedly started removing posts mentioning the episode. Again, that hasn't been confirmed by the organization itself, but screenshots from fans show comment threads disappearing within minutes. And just like that, what began as grief turned into a media blackout rumor, and Candace Owens, whether intentionally or not, became the face of a movement demanding transparency. When a public figure passes suddenly, the people left behind are usually given time to process, to grieve, to regroup. But according to many observers online, that's not what happened here. Within just days of Charlie Kirk's death, Turning Point America began transitioning leadership. At first, it looked like a temporary move just to stabilize things, but behind the scenes, the discussion was reportedly about something more permanent. Candace Owens, who had worked closely with the organization for years, was considered by many supporters to be the obvious successor. She was visible, trusted, and already leading Turning Point's youth and cultural initiatives. But something unexpected happened. As the board prepared to vote, new donor interests allegedly began influencing the process. Several political blogs and podcast sources not verified mainstream outlets, but independent commentators began suggesting that powerful backers wanted Erika Kirk, Charlie's widow, to step into the leadership role instead. It was a move that stunned even insiders, because only weeks earlier, Erika had been seen largely as a behind-the-scenes figure, someone more focused on family than organizational politics. Still, when the announcement came that Erika Kirk was officially assuming leadership, it sent a shock through the conservative community. Some saw it as a tribute to Charlie's legacy, keeping leadership in the family. Others saw it as a takeover, executed.
Is Candace even involved in Charlie Kirk's life?
No question, proof that Candace Owens has nothing to do. She would be in a perfect world if they didn't have this. What I already know was a very quiet breakup where she got too rabbit hole for him. She would be the logical heir to the TPUSA throne, but she's not.
And now she's not even invited.
Correct. So this is so their divide is.
Wait a minute, not invited meaning
she's not even there.
Yeah, she's not
there.
One of the names.
Wait, you don't think she'll be at the funeral?
No.
That's not the funeral.
The heir to the TPUSA throne.
She doesn't speak at the events anymore.
In later commentary, she said, when transitions happen before mourning ends, they're not transitions, they're strategies. That single quote would echo through podcasts, TikToks, and reaction videos for weeks. And for many, it cemented the narrative that this wasn't just about loss, it was about power. In the weeks that followed, Erika Kirk's public image transformed almost overnight. Where she'd once appeared private, even reluctant, she began taking center stage, appearing on podcasts, hosting Turning Point events, and delivering polished speeches about continuing Charlie's dream. The tone was calm, composed, but for some online commentators, too composed. Clips began circulating of her interviews, slowed down, analyzed, dissected frame by frame. Commentators pointed out her posture, her tone, even her eye contact, searching for emotional clues. Many of those videos gained millions of views, often titled with phrases like "something feels off" or "the body language breakdown." And that's when Candace Owens spoke up again, not accusing, but questioning. She asked why the case details were sealed, why the organization pivoted so fast, and why so many public records around the incident seemed unavailable. Still, perception became its own reality. In the court of public opinion, Erika's rise looked too perfectly timed. Candace's subtle criticisms gave that perception fuel, and before long, what might have been normal internal restructuring turned into a full-blown narrative that something deeper, maybe even orchestrated, had taken place. By this point, social media wasn't just asking what happened, they were asking who benefited most. Every public figure has a backstory, and Erika Kirk's begins long before Turning Point, long before politics, before public speaking, before cameras ever found her. According to profiles published years earlier, Erika grew up in a family involved in business, charity, and private sector security. Her mother, in particular, has been mentioned in interviews as having once worked in or around security, contracting something Erika herself referenced briefly during a 2018.
Hey, can I ask a question? It's maybe off topic. How did your mom choose Phoenix?
So she chose to move to Phoenix from Ohio because there was more of an opportunity for a female business owner out here, especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense. And so she had other business partners that were out here that were already in that industry, even one that was a mentor of hers. So it was really convenient to be able to come all together in one place to really have that. But my father ended up moving out here as well because my grandparents had a home out in Sun City. And so it took a little bit to get everyone out here. It took several years, but by that time,
that single detail became internet rocket fuel. Within days of Charlie's death, Reddit threads and YouTube investigators were tracing every LinkedIn profile and archived webpage they could find. The narrative that emerged online suggested possible government or intelligence ties, though no verifiable documents have supported that. Still, the idea stuck. Because in the digital age, the perception of connection can be as powerful as the proof itself. For Candace Owens followers, that rumor added a new layer to the mystery. Was Erika simply a widow stepping into a leadership vacuum, or someone whose background had quietly prepared her for power? It was that question whispered, reposted, and algorithm boosted that led to the next and most sensational online theory. If you've spent any time in political mystery corners of YouTube or X, you've probably seen this one, the honeypot theory. The term comes from espionage slang, someone who gains influence through charm and proximity. According to a cluster of anonymous online accounts, Erika's rapid rise from relative obscurity to the front of a national movement seemed too cinematic to be coincidence. These users pointed to an old timeline, her first public meeting with Charlie Kirk, allegedly during a sponsored international trip. You could note her quick integration into turning point circles, and the couple's highly public wedding soon after. To some, it looked like romance. To others, it looked like recruitment. The honeypot label exists only as an online conjecture and should be treated as entertainment, not fact. But in storytelling terms, that theory gave the online narrative its villain and its victim and made the whole saga sound like a political thriller. Candace Owens never endorsed the honeypot claim directly. However, in one follow-up stream, she said something that viewers quickly tied to it. Some people are placed next to power, and some people fight their way toward it. Within hours, comment sections exploded with side-by-side clips of Candace's quote and images of Erika from past.
I know how Erika and Charlie met. Do you want to know how they met? Okay, let's find out.
So if you ask him, this is the typical husband-wife. Like the husband has a very Spark Notes version, condensed, and then the woman has the longer, more meandering version. So I'll try to blend the two. But the interesting point is that year, that was in August. In May, I had taken a pilgrimage with my mom to Israel. And my whole intention of that trip was to find my future husband. If there was a hole in a rock anywhere to put a prayer, and those of you who've been to Israel, you know the Wailing Wall, all the different places you can stick a prayer on a little piece of paper, that was me. Like, had a piece of paper everywhere. And so I usually don't tell this part because it's very intimate, but I feel like I should. Bloom where you're planted, right? There's only a few flights out at the night in Israel back to the States. And so I was standing there at the ticket line, and there was a guy who was checking out in the...
Again, none of it proved anything, but it kept audiences watching. And that's when attention shifted from the personal to the institutional to Turning Point itself, its foreign relationships, and the money behind its next chapter. When Charlie Kirk passed, the organization he built, Turning Point America, was left in chaos. Within days, questions started swirling. Who would take over? At first, most assumed Candace Owens would be the natural successor. After all, she co-led Turning Point's biggest rallies, stood beside Charlie for years, and carried massive influence online. But what happened next shocked even longtime insiders. Within 2 weeks, Erika Kirk, Charlie's widow, was announced as the new interim CEO. No press conference, no transition statement, just a quiet update on the company's internal website. And that's when things got messy. Anonymous sources claimed the board vote that placed Erika in power wasn't as smooth as it looked. According to them, several board members initially supported Candace until, as one insider put it, certain donors made their preferences known. However, historical filings do show that Turning Point's funding largely depends on a small group of wealthy backers, meaning any shift in donor confidence can drastically affect decision-making. Still, for the public, the optics were explosive. Candace, the loyal ally, sidelined. Erika, the grieving spouse, elevated almost overnight. Supporters split instantly. Some saw it as a logical continuation, keeping Charlie's family in charge. Others saw it as a takeover, fast, strategic, and maybe even pre-planned. And then came the kicker, Candace's leaked group text. In that message, which she later confirmed as authentic, Candace referenced an internal debate about Turning Point's direction, saying, if the organization becomes a mouthpiece for something else entirely, then it's not his legacy anymore. That one sentence reignited the entire controversy, because to many viewers, it sounded like she was hinting that Turning Point wasn't just changing leadership, it was changing purpose. After the text leak, a new theory emerged, one that pushed the entire saga beyond gossip and into global headlines. Commentators began suggesting that certain foreign donors were quietly shaping Turning Point's new direction. They pointed to overseas partnerships, sponsorships, and speaking events that had appeared under Erika's leadership. The timing was suspicious to some, all within weeks of the transition. Still, Candace Owens leaned into the conversation without directly confirming it.
But I want to take the start of this show to address some of the things that have been going around on public, namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address it head on because, that was a screen grab that I had shared with people. So it is authentic. And I want to go into it because I actually am really excited that the truth is out there.
In a later stream, she said, when movements stop being about truth and start being about access, that's when you know the mission's been hijacked. That one phrase, the mission's been hijacked, became a rallying cry online. Thousands of her supporters reposted the clip with captions like, she's exposing the system, and they silenced Charlie for asking the wrong questions. And whether or not the foreign funding story holds up, one thing became clear. Turning Point's image had changed. It wasn't just a conservative student movement anymore, it was now the center of a digital mystery about money, power, and control. Meanwhile, Erika kept quiet. No rebuttals, no interviews, only brief, polished statements from the Turning Point PR team, calling the rumors false and defamatory. But silence, as always, fuels speculation, and Candace knew that better than anyone. Her next move would take everything to another level, dragging the story from backroom politics to full-blown public warfare. After weeks of online tension, half a dozen viral clips, and one of the strictest gag orders ever rumored in a high-profile case, Candace Owens finally broke her silence again. She released a statement during a live stream titled, "They Can't Silence Truth Forever." No filters, no PR team, no sponsors, just Kitty, Candace, a microphone, and that unmistakable tone she gets when she knows the internet's about to explode. Halfway through the stream, she dropped what fans now call the final bombshell. Candace claimed she had obtained direct evidence suggesting Charlie's inner circle had been compromised before his death. She said messages, emails, and internal memos pointed toward foreign-linked directives influencing Turning Point's decisions and that Erika Kirk allegedly knew about it. Barb streamed that she was still reviewing the authenticity of what she'd received, but none of that stopped the internet from catching fire. Screenshots, audio clips, and alleged receipts flooded social media within hours, most of them unverifiable but perfectly timed for engagement. The hashtag #WhoSilencedCharlie trended across platforms for nearly a week straight, and the fallout was instant. Turning Point's board released an official statement calling the allegations baseless and defamatory. Erika Kirk, for the first time since the controversy began, finally spoke not through a post, not through a leak, but through a video. Standing against a neutral background, wearing black, she looked straight into the camera and said, "Grief doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But lies can destroy everything. I will not let them destroy what Charlie built." The clip went viral, but not for the reasons she might have hoped. Some praised her composure, others said she seemed too calm, and just like that, public opinion split right down the middle. Half of the internet believed Candace had uncovered something big. The other half believed Erika had become the victim of a digital witch hunt. And through all of it, the one question no one could answer was, if Candace's claims were false, why was she being silent so aggressively? Weeks passed and the chaos only deepened. Turning Point's public events were quieter. Sponsors delayed appearances. News outlets, the ones that had a voice avoided the story for months finally started covering it, but with vague, cautious language like online speculation and unverified allegations. Behind the scenes, creators covering the case reported takedowns, copyright claims, and even demonetization strikes on their videos. Some said they received legal notices demanding they remove Candace's quotes or risk lawsuits. And that's when people realized this wasn't just a story about one woman or one movement anymore, it had become a story about information control. Because whether you believed Candace or Erika, one thing was undeniable. Every piece of new information seemed to vanish almost as quickly as it appeared. Still, the optics were haunting. Videos disappeared, posts vanished, and yet the mystery kept growing. To this day, there's still no confirmed coroner's report made public, no clear reason for the sweeping silence around Charlie's case, and no closure for those who followed his work. Candace has since hinted she's preparing a full documentary titled Legacy Interrupted. Meanwhile, Erika continues to lead Turning Point America, appearing calm and composed in every new public interview. But for many, the silence speaks louder than any statement. Because whether you think this was a tragic coincidence, a political setup, or a media misunderstanding, you can't ignore how fast power changed hands.